on, Star Wars fans? Welcome to your weekly dose of Star Wars Doctrine. This is podcast number 7, so it's already been 7 weeks of doing this, and just want to say thank you to you guys for your support so far. It's been really fun hearing from you guys and what you think on the stuff, and I just enjoy doing it and getting to talk about Star Wars with you guys. If you're new to the channel, if it's your first time, Star Wars Doctrine, we're all about just discussing everything that there is to discuss in the Star Wars universe, keeping up with news, lots of fun facts, and share some memes, just anything that's Star Wars-y we're talking about. So if you look at, go ahead and check us out on Facebook and Instagram, as well as liking and subscribing on here. But social media is where we get all the content for the podcast. All of the posts and discussions happen there first, and then we bring them to the YouTube video and podcast, and that's where I talk about everything and mention a lot of your guys' comments and just talk about a lot of things you guys say. It's a really good time, and I really enjoy it. I'm excited to dive into it again this week, and without further ado, get right into it. So first up on the list this week, guys, is a post that I shared a little bit ago, and it's all about the Knights of Ren. So if you remember this post, it's Jason Ward of Making Star Wars. It's a page he runs called Making Star Wars. He's involved with a lot of stuff. Anyways, he says that he believes the reason that the Knights of Ren have been absent from the past 2 films is because they have been off on a mission for Kylo in the unknown regions. To clarify, I think the words he used was in the beyond, but speculation from what most people are talking about, they're thinking that the beyond and the unknown regions are probably the same thing. And I just wanted to see what you guys thought about this theory or this idea. I think that we need a pretty good explanation for where they've been, because it's been 2 movies which we heard about them first in episode 7. Everyone was kind of expecting them to be a big part of 8, and obviously that wasn't part of Rian Johnson's plans. So pretty interesting, and most of your guys' feedback on this was pretty interesting. Not surprising, though. I got a lot of, this is dumb, they're just trying to cover it up or try to come up with a lame excuse and all of this stuff. But yeah, I got a couple of thoughts on it. First off, I fully expected the Knights of Ren to be a big part of 8 as well. Thought it was weird and surprising that they weren't. But for all of the ways that they can try and incorporate them into 9, because it sounds like they definitely are. Pretty sure they've already casted. I mean, it's not a secret that they casted people for the roles, and so hopefully they're a big part of episode 9. But yeah, I personally, on this theory, if they were off on a mission for Kylo, I actually like that as a reason, because I do think they need to explain it in some way. So if Kylo had them off looking for something or doing something, to me that makes a lot of sense. And just in regards to some of the comments, I will say this: I think that in a way, a lot of us, and I'm the same way, we're like a little dramatic about the fact that the Knights of Ren haven't been in the last 2, and like how, they're such a big part, so where were they? They are absent from 2 movies. But one thing I think we forget, I think we're all used to Star Wars being, all these episodes being 10 years, 5 years, 3 years apart. And episodes 7 and 8 are only it really picks up right where 7 left off. So, the fact that they're not in 7, I guess because of the time period, it's really not all that hard to believe that they wouldn't be in 8. Because the events of 7 and 8 happen within a couple days to a week at the most. So the fact that they were absent, if they were off on a mission, there's a pretty good chance a mission for Kylo Ren could take longer than a week. So with that being said, I don't think it's all that unbelievable because of the events. Now, if they were 3 years apart or even a year, like 8 to 9 is going to be, and then we didn't have them in it, I would have been like, okay, so they were gone for a year. That's a little ridiculous. But being that 7 and 8 are so close together, it's a little more believable. Not saying that it really isn't just because there was a disconnect between what JJ wanted to do and what Ryan wanted to do, because that more than likely is probably what the case is. To be honest, I bet JJ's, if he wrote episode 8, the Knights of Ren probably would have been in it. But that isn't what happened. So for me, this, I won't say excuse, because I don't necessarily think it's an excuse. I think it's, this writing makes sense. I think it's one of the better ways to explain it, to say that they were off on a mission. Like, at least they're, if this is true, then at least they're giving us something. And at this point, like, I will take something over them just ignoring it and pretending that it wasn't weird that they weren't in it. I'd rather get an explanation. So that's my personal opinion. But contrary to kind of what I just said, there was a comment I wanted to point out. It was by Mike.A.77. Said, what could be more important than your entire home base being blown up and then the final hunting down of the last of the resistance? Isn't that the bane of your entire existence? So that's a fair point. Their home base getting blown up, the obviously Star Killer base, blanking there, gets blown up. You would think, hey, they'd rush home and be like trying to help out. So that's a fair point. Maybe that's true. But we don't really know what their role was. We don't know if they were separate from the First Order or if they were... I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Maybe they were very involved in the First Order. Maybe their base wasn't Starkiller base. Maybe they were kind of separate from that. Kind of like the Jedi were separate from politics. I don't know. I guess they tried to be, at least. But it's interesting. But I do like that comment. That's a good point. Like, yeah, it sounds like a pretty big thing that they missed. So I digress on what I said a little bit. But once again, it is what it is. And the time of events, the timeline, what we got, that's what we got. So I'm willing to accept this answer personally. Like I said, I just think it's better than ignoring it in general. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I'd be interested to hear from you guys a little bit more. If you think it's just lazy writing, or if that's a good excuse, or if that's good writing to say that's where they were. If not, I'd be interested if you guys have any theories or ideas yourselves. Honestly, that would be cool. Not saying I have any better ideas. I like this one, but if you guys do, love to hear them. Please share your theories and stuff with me. You can always get a hold of me easiest just by commenting on the video here, but I'm also available direct message on Instagram. So love hearing your guys' theories, and I'm happy to talk about them on the show too if you want. So that's cool. Another little fact I shared that I thought was cool, and I just stumbled across this, is about Bosk. Well, more about the Trandoshans, which is Bosk's species. Pretty cool. So let me read this to you. It says, the Trandoshan deity was a goddess called the Scorekeeper. She tallied points for every kill a Trandoshan made. The more prestigious or difficult the kill, the more points were awarded. The amount of points earned determined each Trandoshan's place in the afterlife. If a Trandoshan was ever captured, they believed other points were erased back to 0. So this one stood out to me as really cool because I do play Battlefront, and if you guys do as well, Battlefront 2 specifically, Bosk references the Scorekeeper quite a bit. He's kind of, I just thought, honestly, and I know someone else commented this as well, I thought he was breaking the fourth wall. I thought he was talking about the game, like whoever's keeping score of the Battlefront game. I didn't realize that there's this deity that's called the Scorekeeper, and that made this way cooler to me, and also made me happy about the details that Battlefront was paying attention to. I'm not going to give EA a lot of credit typically, but that's pretty cool that they added that in there, especially since something like I didn't even know that was a thing. So props to them on that. So, but Bosk often in the game, the characters, if you've played or if you haven't, the characters interact with each other quite a bit. They'll just say things, and you're not really making them say things. They just kind of talk to each other. And Bosk often, after like a kill, he'll say something like, "Oh, the Scorekeeper's going to be impressed," or "Hope the Scorekeeper was watching," or whatever he says. And I've noticed that quite a bit. And so to see what the actual reason behind it, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. So it's this deity that pretty much only the Trandoshans worshipped. And one of the things I read that was really cool is like a Wookiee was considered like one of the highest points that they could kill. And if you know a little bit about, I think I a long time ago on the page talked about this, but they kind of had a rivalry, the Trandoshans and the Wookiees, because they were always trying to hunt Wookiees, and it makes sense why, because they thought that was worth the most points, and Wookiees obviously are pretty hard to kill, so makes sense as to why that's the case. And we know like Chewie does not like Trandoshans, so pretty cool. But I thought it was interesting if they get captured that they thought all their points go back to 0, so that'd be pretty demeaning. Like that would be the worst thing for them, because now they think, oh, I'm pretty much going to hell, right? That's like the equivalent, possibly. Anyways, I just thought that was a super cool little fact for like sharing. On the same topic, I guess, one thing I noticed too, that just kind of struck me in Battlefront, if you've been playing a little bit, you know that Anakin just came out, and with the Chosen One update, and he looks really interesting. It's like a mix of Hayden Christensen and a mix of the Clone Wars looking Anakin, like his face. But if you do play, very curious what you think, because he is powerful in the game. I did a poll a little bit ago asking if you guys think he's overpowered or not. I'd be interested to hear what you guys think in the comments. If you do play Battlefront, let me know what you think, because, man, I've been playing a little bit lately, and it seems like whoever is Anakin is just, oh, he's always taking first place. But anyways, I thought they did good with his gameplay. The 501st Troopers look really cool. And one thing that I was playing with my cousin last night, one thing we noticed is that Obi-Wan and Anakin have been saying some pretty cool lines to each other. Same thing, like I was saying, Bosk, how he kind of interacts with other players. Obi-Wan and Anakin's interactions have been pretty interesting and cool. But one thing I want to talk about that I noticed last night was that Obi-Wan started reciting the Jedi Code in the game, which is pretty cool. If you don't know, let me pull it up real quick. Jedi Code. So the Jedi Code, it's like there is, let's see here. Let me read it to you if you haven't put it up on screen yet. Let's see. There's no emotion, there's peace, there is no ignorance, there's knowledge, there is no passion, there is serenity, there is no chaos, there is harmony, there is no death, there is the Force. Anyways, pretty cool. I don't and correct me if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments if that is has been canonized in Disney's canon, I should say. I haven't come across it. So the fact that it was in the game, and Obi-Wan's reciting it, I thought was just really cool. Random little thing that plugged in there. I personally would really like for them to make parts of the Jedi and Sith codes canon, put it into a movie. I think it should have been in the prequels. That would have been really cool. So the fact that Obi-Wan was talking about the game, I'm like, does that make it canon? Because, the game has a lot of canonized things, and pretty much the game itself's canon. So if Obi-Wan's talking about it, maybe it is. So anyways, just thought I'd share that little fun side tangent of something I came across yesterday. Kind of fun. But okay, moving on from Battlefront into some other news involving Star Wars games. Jedi Fallen Order was announced to have its own panel at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, which is April 11th through the 15th. So Star Wars fans, there's lots of ways you can tune into Star Wars Celebration. I think they usually stream it on StarWars.com. But if you're not able to go, I'm not making it out this year. And although that is definitely a bucket list item for me, so I'll probably just be streaming it. Anyways, April 13th is going to be the Jedi Fallen Order panel. So if something you're interested in, be sure to check it out that day. They haven't announced a time yet as far as I'm aware. But the fact that it's getting its own panel is really cool, because that means we're definitely going to get probably some gameplay, more details on a storyline. It is a RPG game, so you'll be taking over the role of a Padawan who survived Order 66, which I think is a great idea, because that's just one of my favorite time periods to explore in the Star Wars universe in general. And then to bring in a new storyline about a Jedi who survived that's probably going to be a canon storyline. That's what I'm more interested in than anything, is just learning the story of it. Because that was one of the things that Battlefront 2 did really well, bringing in the story of Iden Versio and some of the stuff that happened right after Episode 6. So this will be interesting to see what they do with it and how you get to really feel like you're this Padawan in this story. So I'm excited for that, but we'll probably get some gameplay, like I said, get some information. Maybe we'll get a character's name, find out some of the stuff that you get to do, maybe learn, I don't know, some of the customization you might get on the characters, because that's what I'm hoping for. It'd be fun if you get to customize your character a little bit. But yeah, so that's something to look out for Star Wars Celebration there. Then something that I found really fun this week and exciting, guys, probably the last thing we're going to talk about this week was this post here. I shared a picture from Star Wars Edit Hub, and he's a really cool guy. I've talked to him a couple times. He gave me permission to share his stuff and to even put it in the podcast here. He said he's happy to do that. Let me use some of his stuff, and I found this picture that really sparked this idea because he had created this image of Rey holding a green lightsaber, and it started making me think, like, hey, episode 9 coming, what is Rey's lightsaber color going to be? And then I started thinking, well, what do I want it to be? So yeah, I shared that image and thought it was pretty cool. And then I asked you guys what you want it to be in episode 9, and I got lots and lots of comments between the different social media platforms. Too many to really read through, but I'll just kind of give you guys the gist of it. Believe it or not, and I was really surprised and happy about this, but one of the most popular colors that was said was actually yellow. And it's funny to me because that was the color in my head that I was really wanting. I have liked yellow lightsabers ever since I was a kid because they don't make a whole lot of appearance. But if you remember the Force Unleashed games, you could actually find a yellow crystal back when the crystals were colors when you found them, and make your lightsaber yellow. And I was like, man, that's unique and really cool looking. So that was like my guy's lightsaber color, and it made me really just fall in love with yellow lightsaber. So I'm like, man, I would just love for someone to have a yellow lightsaber in one of the movies. That'd be so cool. And apparently a lot of you guys thought that too, which surprised me. One of the other really popular colors was purple, which obviously Mace Windu is the only one we know that had that in canon. And yeah, I think that'd be really cool. Obviously there's that like she's a girl, and so having a girl color like purple would be kind of interesting, and it'd be one of those things I could see setting well and bad with fans all at the same time, just because people will find something to complain about. But I think it would probably look good. Obviously, Mace with the purple was awesome. Just purple lightsaber in general looked really cool. So it'd be fun to have something unique again, and I think unique's fun, and something new would be enjoyable. So, yeah. Then again, obviously there's the classics. A lot of you guys said green and blue, just like the classics. I think for green, it'd be a good tribute to Luke Skywalker and the fact that he made his lightsaber green, and that was such a cool appearance in Return of the Jedi when you saw a green lightsaber for the first time. So a good tribute to Luke, since we didn't get to see his green lightsaber in the sequels, other than the flashback scene with Kylo. But yeah, I think that'd be cool to get green, and I think I would want personally it to be Luke's kyber crystal that she used if she was going to make a green one, because just out of respect for Luke, like that's her master and everything. So that'd be cool. And if it was blue, like I think it'd be a good tribute to Anakin, whether she rebuilds that saber or not, uses that same kyber crystal to keep it alive in the films would be cool. But I'm kind of personally on the side of like each Jedi should make their own saber. It is cool that like Anakin's is still around. I know they're gonna call it Rey's now in the Star Wars announced that it's gonna be called Rey's, which that part of me makes me think that maybe that means that she is gonna be using it in this one. But I just think that to become a Jedi, like you're supposed to make your own lightsaber, right? Like that's what everyone did. Luke did that, and so I've just always thought that was like something that Jedi's, that was a rite of passage. So I would like her to make her own, but then again, who knows? She doesn't really have anyone to teach her. I guess Force Ghost Luke could teach her how to make it. And maybe I know Luke found stuff in Obi-Wan's hut, and that's how he, made his first lightsaber. We do know Rey's going to be searching for a lot of artifacts in this movie, supposedly. So maybe she'll come across something that helps her learn how to build a lightsaber. Maybe we'll get to see it on screen. I'd actually really like that. That'd be really cool. I saw a lot of people said pink, which would be interesting to say the least. That's never been a color in Star Wars, and I don't think personally that it would. I know when some people said pink as a joke, and some people were actually serious about it, and I mean, yeah, I could see it if that's what you want. The only thing I personally don't think they would do it is just because of how close it is to red. They wouldn't want that to... Number one, Star Wars is kind of all about the pretty colors on screen and how it looks, visual effects. So pink and red lightsabers clashing, I just don't think would look as good on screen, so I don't think they do it because of that. And then two, just pink's really close to red. So, but one thing that a lot of you guys talked about was that you wanted it to be... A lot of people said, I don't even care what color it is as long as it's dual blade or a staff saber, which obviously we've seen dual blade before with Darth Maul. And then obviously there's lots of Legends stuff about those as well. And that would be really cool to see a Jedi use one of those. It is canon that the temple guards had dual sabers that were yellow, so that would be kind of cool. It fits right in with what I want. I'd be cool with a yellow double-bladed, or even like, a one that came apart so she could use two and also have a double blade too, kind of rotate back and forth, and they could be different colors. I don't care. That'd be cool. But a staff saber would be interesting too. I think there's a lot of those in Legends, and we know that she likes using that staff. It'd be cool if she actually used that real staff and was able to somehow make that into a lightsaber. That'd be pretty cool. But obviously she's good at fighting with that, so yeah, why not? I mean, be interesting choreography to see how they pull that into the fight scenes, and I think it'd be fun to see something new like that. So I think I'd prefer personally a dual blade over the staff, but I mean, just something new would be cool. I'm down for it. A couple people said the dark saber, which I believe the last belonged to Maul. I know Sabine had it at some point. No, actually Sabine had it after Maul did. Huh, that's right, because she finds it in Rebels and Maul's like little chambers or hut or wherever he had. I vaguely remember. Yeah, so I guess Sabine was the last to have it, and at the end of Rebels she gives it to one of the Mandalorians, and I can't remember the name, but she does give it away. So someone who had the darksaber last, that'd be interesting to see how Rey could come in contact with the darksaber. That would be cool. I would love for that to make a movie appearance. I know some people like the darksaber, some people don't. I think it's a really cool weapon, just kind of... Because I think it's realistic to think that, other people would have tried to create lightsabers or things like it that weren't Jedi. I'm not saying that... The Jedi probably kept a pretty good secret. You have to be Force sensitive, I believe, to even make the crystals. Well, I don't know, because they were using it on the Death Star. We don't really know a whole lot about kyber crystals yet in canon, so it kind of makes it hard to really speculate. But anyways, it's not hard to believe that people would be trying to replicate stuff like that. And so the darksaber, I just thought was a cool weapon, and the fact what it meant to the Mandalorians, like their leader carried it. That's cool. So it'd be cool to see it make an appearance in the movie. I like the weapon. I think it's a really pretty and cool looking weapon. Personally, I think I'd rather Kylo have it though, just because it's the darksaber. Like it was cooler when Maul used it. Like, I don't know, but Rey finding it would be cool too. I don't think that's the route they'll go. And like I said, I do want Rey to build her own lightsaber, so I think that'd be cool. The other one that popped up quite a bit was white, like Ahsoka's, which, yeah, I think that'd be really cool, actually. Or even if she found Ahsoka's lightsabers. I've said it before, I want there to be some Rebels references and something physical. So that'd be really cool. Ahsoka, if you don't know, like, exactly how she got white ones. So, okay, just to kind of go over what we do know is in canon, all kyber crystals start out white. And then the Jedi, when you connect with it, it turns the color that, I don't know, your Force bond with it would have it turn, I suppose. And anyways, the Sith tradition was that they apparently no crystals really want to turn red. It's not one of their natural colors. But what Sith do is, with all the evil and hate that they have, they actually go into this force thing with the crystal and make the crystal bleed. And the Darth Vader comics actually go into good, deep explanation of Vader making his crystal bleed. So with all the darkness that they have, these crystals bleed until they turn red. And the crystals like try to resist it, but the dark side overpowers it. And basically that's how lightsabers become red. So Ahsoka's white lightsabers were actually a reverse effect of that. She had two, I believe, from the Inquisitors, the crystals from the Inquisitors that she had killed, and she like basically unbled them. I don't know the better word to say it. She like cured them of their bleeding that the Inquisitors had done to the crystals. So she purified them, basically, I guess is the best way to, with her, the opposite of the dark side, the light side, and she was able to do that, and that's how they became white. So it'd be really cool to see Rey do something like that, and I think that's cool. Another rare color that would be fun to see pop up, because I don't know, I just like the unique rare colors. I've seen plenty of people with green and blue lightsabers, so that'd be really cool. But yeah, as there's a good Clone Wars episode on it where Ahsoka and Yoda, I think, go to take some younglings to the planet of Ilum, and that's where they have this crystal cave. It's like an ice planet, Ilum is, and tons of kyber crystals are there, and so it's a sacred place to the Jedi, and they take the younglings there as part of their training to find their first lightsaber crystal. And so you get to see some of the younglings do that and see that their crystals call out to them and connect to them with the Force, which is really cool. So yeah, that's part of that. So yeah, I'm curious what you guys think on lightsaber colors. Obviously, I was kind of asking more, what color do you want Rey's lightsaber to be? As far as like what I think they'll actually do, to be honest with you, like, what I want yellow, but I really think that they'll probably just stick with green or blue, just because I don't see them straying from tradition too much, and it's safe, it's safe to say, let's just do what people are used to and not take the risk. So, although I do think that if they want to have something pay off, they're going to have to take some big risks with Episode 9. But as far as the fan service goes, they might just keep it simple and do a blue or green just to keep it cool, and it'll be good either way. But I will say, in this picture that Star Wars Edit Hub did, I really do like Rey holding the green lightsaber. I think it looked pretty good with her. So, heck, maybe it'll be even Luke's green lightsaber. It's probably still an Arc 2, right? I mean, maybe she'll come across it and she'll keep it and collect it, and if she starts her own Jedi, maybe she'll have her own Jedi Order. Maybe she'll have a temple that's just dedicated to, or a room in the temple that's dedicated to old Jedi artifacts she comes across. Put Luke's saber in there to honor him. That'd be really cool. Well, guys, yeah, I think that's about going to cover everything I want to talk about this week, and I hope you enjoyed this week's podcast. If you have any questions or comments, where to leave them, just in the comments there. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram if you want to take part in these discussions. Maybe your comments will get featured in the future. Appreciate all the support and everything, guys. Hope you have a great week, and may the Force be with you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because
it is your destiny.